What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another amazing Cajun Libertarian Live. I'm your host, the Cajun Libertarian, and I'm super excited about tonight, and I can't wait to get started. I have a few words to say real quick. I want to be very humble and modest and just give a victory speech for the great seafood debate. Sticking with the humility and modesty, very short. I won by a lot. End of speech. Now that we got that out the way, thank you, Eskimo. That was a great time, by the way. That was so much fun. Still going. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Anyway, so Mr. Rainwater, who we have tonight, I think pretty much everybody knows. He ran for governor of Indiana in November and made a bunch of national noise, and it was incredible. And he is really, really trailblazing and leading the way. And so, with all that being said, let's bring him on. Don, what's up?
Well, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Not too bad. I feel like instead of Donald Rainwater, it should say the Hoosier Libertarian to go with the Cajun Libertarian.
I love it. You should do that. For sure. Somebody's got to do that. The Hoosier Libertarian.
The Hoosier Libertarian. I actually had used to have a Facebook page that I used to rage against the machine as the Hoosier Libertarian. So
that's awesome. Okay, so it's already been yours then.
Well, I think it's been a lot of people's. There have been other people use it, in Indiana for other things, but it definitely fits tonight. So
yeah, I love it. There's been a lot of noise about people pulling these names like this over the last couple of days. So I love that. Hoosier Libertarian. I got one guy that said he wanted to be the Hillbilly Libertarian.
There you go.
Somebody said the Sunshine Libertarian, Florida State. So keep it moving. Keep it moving like you. This is awesome. So you had we talked a little bit before, and you were talking about how your day went and that you're glad to be here right now. So what's life like right now? As much as you can tell us post running for the campaign.
Well, obviously there's, family and work. And, one of the things I think that separates libertarians from the elite establishment political class that is ruling our nation and the state of Indiana today is that, libertarians have real jobs.
Right.
We don't live off the taxpayers for an entire career like these career, establishment elite politicians do. We believe in public service, and we want to get in, have a positive impact on individual rights and constitutionally limited government, and then we want to get the hell out and let somebody else have a turn.
Yeah.
So after the election, there's been a lot of working, a lot of taking care of family, and of course, even though the election is over, I tell people all the time the fight against big government and the fight for individual freedom and smaller government never ends. And the truth is that one of the big hurdles that we have to overcome is the tendency for people to get all worked up for a presidential election cycle. And then as soon as it's over, they go back to their lives and forget that big government is, pardon the expression, screwing them over on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And not just at a federal level, but at the state level, at the county level, your city or your town. People so often fail to realize that your mayor, your city council, your town council, your county commissioners, if you have in Indiana, every one of 92 counties has 3 county commissioners. And the unique thing about county commissioners in Indiana is that they're not only the executive branch, but they're also the legislative branch. The only thing in Indiana that a county council does is control fiscal things. But for example, if your county wants to pass an ordinance requiring you to wear a mask outdoors at the park, well, the county commissioners can do that. And so people, I think all too often what we do is we get all riled up. And, if you look back at the history of the founding fathers, they really intended for the president to be more of a figurehead and have less authority and less power. They didn't want a king. But what we've done is we've created this scenario where we act as Americans as if everything the president does is the most important thing. The president this and the president that. And I'm more worried about what my county commissioners are doing and the mayor. And because that's where a lot of our tax money goes, is local. And they say all politics are local.
Yeah, I mean, it's the definition of politics.
Yeah,
it's what's going on in the community around you. And so, and piggybacking off of what you just said is something that we've been talking about during pretty much every one of these shows, and that's taking that opportunity to be in your local community, in your town council, city council, or down here we have aldermen in some areas and things like that, and being able to take that advantage right there at the grassroots level. So I'm super happy to hear you talk about being focused on such a micro level as opposed to macro level, because I believe that the federal government now, I think that what's going on in the average American's mind is it's pretty much a religion now. And so it's like it's entertainment and religious what the federal government's doing. But what we don't focus enough on, and I'm very, very guilty too. I'm not trying to say anything about anybody. I'm very guilty, but we focus so much on that because it has the media helps it hold a lot of entertainment value. And so I'm very, very happy to hear you say that we need to be boots on the ground in our community.
Absolutely. Well, and I actually had somebody ask me on the phone the other day, would you run for U.S. Senate? And I go, hell no. And they, why not? Well, the reason why is because we'll never fix what's wrong with the federal government until we fix the states first.
Right.
You see, James Madison wrote the 9th and 10th Amendments as that gate, that fence around the federal government, to say if the federal government didn't specifically get the authority to do something in the Constitution, then that authority either belongs to the states or the people.
Right.
And when I ran for governor, one of the things that I said during one of our debates is that the governor of the state of Indiana should grab a hold of the 9th Amendment with one hand, the 10th Amendment with the other, look at the federal government and say, step back.
Yes.
And what has happened is the Constitution is supposed to be that fence to limit the federal government. Right. But what we've done is we've allowed the federal government, because the states are the 50 slats of that fence.
Right.
And those states have fallen down on the job. Now the federal government wanders around wherever it wants to, tramples all over those 50 states. And we go, well, we need to fix the federal government. Well, put the fence back up.
Right.
Let's start by putting the fence back up, which means we need to get our state governments straightened out first. And if we straighten out our states and we get state legislatures that understand the concept of limited government, and we have governors and attorney generals in states who understand the idea that the states and the people run the government, not the other way around, we could fix some of this. One of the first things we need to do is, repeal the federal income tax, take the money, it's like they say that, if you have a cancerous tumor, you want to cut off the blood supply to it.
Right.
In order to keep it under control. Well, it's the same thing with the federal government. The federal government is a cancerous tumor
Absolutely.
to the freedoms of the citizens of the United States. And the way that you fix that is you cut off the blood supply, you cut off the money. And instead of letting them collect money, you make them come to the 50 states and say, could we please have some money to go do this? And the states say, that's not part of your constitutional responsibility. No, you can't have a dime. But we don't do that. We've let the government take control of us instead of the other way around.
So in a very simple and superficial resolution, how do we take our first 2 to 5 steps as individual states in doing that?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is get control of our state governments. Right. Because what we've done here again, and I think you're right, we're so enamored with the media telling us what to think. Yeah. But, that really kind of traces back to the fact that we let the government, we let the government teach our children what to think instead of us deciding what our children will be taught. And I tell people every time I hear somebody use the term public school now, I politely correct them. There's no such thing as public education. It's government education.
That's right.
And there is nothing in the Constitution, either the federal Constitution or the state of Indiana Constitution. Now, the state of Indiana Constitution talks about providing common schools, and that's fine. Right. But it doesn't say that the government gets to tell the schools what they can and cannot teach, or how they teach it. And this is part of the problem. Parents, school boards, at least in Indiana, our parents and our school boards have lost their authority over children's education. It's become the state says, the federal government is masters. They are masters of extortion. You'll do what we say, or we won't give you this money.
Yeah, exactly.
And here again, like I said a minute ago, it should be the other way around. The states should be looking at the federal government and saying, you need to stay you need to learn your place, federal government.
That's what I'm talking about.
And if you don't, you're not going to get any money.
Right.
But here again, we've got the cart out, the cart's halfway down the hill, the horse is still in the stall.
Right.
And we've really got to get to the place where we understand that and start working, because it all starts with, and you and I were talking about this a little bit before the show.
Yeah.
It starts with our attitude as liberty-minded, and I use the term liberty-minded people.
Yep.
Yes, I am a member of the Libertarian Party. I consider myself a libertarian. When I run for office, I run as a libertarian. And when people say, well, you might win if you ran as a Republican, I go, for 2 reasons, no. One, because they would never let somebody like me on their ballot.
Right.
They don't want liberty-minded people in the Republican Party or in the Democrat Party. Right. They want people who will do what they're told. And that's part of the problem. But the other reason is, the Republican Party in Indiana, at least, is a filthy, corrupt organization. Well, why would I want to jump in a dirty pool?
Right.
That's disgusting. Ooh, I don't want
Yeah.
to be part of that. I don't want to be associated with that. But we've got to get people out of this mindset that, oh, I'm a Republican
Right.
or I'm a Democrat. No, you're an independent voter unless you pay dues to a
Right.
political party, go to their convention and vote as a delegate. You're an independent voter. You have the ability to choose the person you
That's
think
right.
is best suited to protect your individual rights and to keep government in its place. Regardless,
Absolutely.
just because I tattoo unicorn across my forehead don't make me one,
That's
right? So just
right.
because I say I'm a Republican or say I'm a Democrat, it don't make me one.
Yeah, they're just fans, right?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. We talked about that
Yeah.
before. I'm a fan of the Indianapolis Colts. You're a fan
Yeah.
of the New Orleans Saints, right?
Yep.
Doesn't mean you get paid to play.
No, not at
It
all.
just means you're a fan.
Yep.
You root for them on Sunday.
Yep.
Well, when we go vote, we're rooting for the people we want to win. But what we've done is we've forgotten that it's not about winning and losing, your team. Republicans are not a team. Democrat is not a team. It's not a sport. What it is at the end of the day is the people who have the control to either allow you to choose your own destiny or to put their thumb down and make you comply to theirs.
That's right.
And that's where we've gotten lost as a society and as a people, because that's exactly that under my thumb. President Biden the other day said, get a vaccine or wear a mask.
Didn't he though?
Not sorry, brother.
That's
Not your place to tell me.
Amen.
I don't know who you think you are, but you
Right.
work for me.
That's right.
I pay your salary. And I'll tell you what you can and can't do as president of the United States. I'm a
Yes.
citizen. I'm not
That's right.
I'm not a servant.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not a serf.
Right.
This isn't the feudal system.
Right.
You work for us. Don't tell me I either have to get a vaccine or wear a mask. How about you do your job?
Yep.
And I'll worry about my health.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the old well, you're doing this for everybody else. That's the same lame excuse they use when they steal the money out of your paycheck.
That is exactly right.
And I've heard libertarians who say, well, but you need to mask up for other people. Well, then they'll pay up your taxes and shut up about it then. If that's the attitude we're going to take, either we're free or we're not.
That's right.
And if you're concerned about your health, you need to take the precautions that you believe are best for you.
That's
But
right.
don't let the media and the government con you into believing that you have to comply to keep everybody else safe.
That's right.
Because that's a dirty trick.
Ain't it though? Because I just tweeted about it a day or two ago. And the whole concept behind the tweet was attacking the language of the CDC and the media, saying that we are going to relax things and this is what you can do if you're fully vaccinated. I'm like, no, I do what I want. You have no authority.
Right.
I have the authority. I do what I want. And then I make the decisions every day as to how I want to best take care of myself and the people around me under my jurisdiction.
Now, I know for a fact, if I'm sick,
right,
then I need to stay home and stay away from other people. But don't tell me you don't have a fever, you don't show any symptoms of anything, But you need to follow our instructions and do as we tell you, because you may have something and be able to give it to somebody else and not even know it.
Yep.
Boy, that's dangerous, dangerous, dangerous stuff.
Yep.
Because here again, today it's COVID-19. How do
Yep.
we know what it is tomorrow? It's like red flag laws.
Right.
Right? Red flag laws, I'm completely opposed. Why? Because I don't want anybody being able to go and say, Rainwater's crazy, take his guns.
That's right.
First of all, you only have to talk to me for about 5 minutes to know I'm crazy. I ran for governor of the state of Indiana as a libertarian.
Right.
Of course, people are going to say I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, it's one step away from, they go to that church over there, and those people are all mentally ill. We need to take all their guns.
That's right.
And when you look at the vaccine passport thing, wait a minute. Well, you want me to have to present papers?
Ain't no way.
You can't go to a concert unless you've got papers.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time with the driver's license thing.
Right.
Right? Because here again, well, you go fill out a credit app somewhere. We want your driver's license number. Wait a minute. You want my social security number? You want my driver's license number? What why do you need all this? Why do we need to be tracked?
Right.
We're citizens. I understand a certain amount of public safety awareness type of, I get it. And
Right.
I'm not saying that, but the thing is we just let it go so far.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know about where you're at, but in Indiana, every year we have to pay vehicle excise tax and renew our vehicle registration in order to, keep our license plates current.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a bunch of BS. That's just another excuse to take money from me.
More extortion.
One of the things I campaigned on last year was the idea that, okay, when I buy a car, I'll be more than happy to register it with the state of Indiana. They give me a license plate. I'll put it on the back of the car. And as long as I own that car, that's all I should have to do one time.
Yeah.
No excise tax. I already paid sales tax on the car.
Yep.
I pay a gasoline excise tax. We pay in Indiana, I believe it's about 65 cents per gallon in taxes on gasoline in Indiana.
Whoa.
So if you think about that, you want to talk about a regressive tax, a tax that disproportionately affects lower income people. I need to get to work. I got to fill up the tank. And if I put 10 gallons of gas in, I'm paying $6.50 in tax to fill up my tank.
That's brutal.
And what does the government do with that? They don't fix potholes in Indiana, let me tell you.
No.
So, these are all things that, we just don't think about in between the 2016 and the 2020, and then the 2020 and the 2024. And so one of the things that we did when we created the Liberty is Essential Political Action Committee was we decided that what we needed to do was keep people thinking about this stuff all the time, reminding people that, hey, you got a General Assembly out here. Here in Indiana, just this last session, we have a fund that the Department of Veterans Affairs in Indiana, veterans can buy veteran license plates. And that we as veterans, I'm a veteran. I have veteran license plates on my 2 vehicles. And so we pay extra for those license plates. And that extra goes into a charitable fund to help veterans and their families in times of crisis.
Nice.
Well, and it would be great, except for the fact that the Department of Veterans Affairs decided that they wanted to take 10%, they wanted to skim 10% off the top for promotional purposes to help market the fund. Get more veterans money. And the first thing I said was, wait a minute. You want to get more of this money to veterans, so you're going to take 10% of it.
Right.
So that means now there's 10% less a year to go to veterans.
Well,
that just doesn't make any sense.
No,
when you stop and think about it, you go, oh, now that's just bullshit.
Right.
Right?
100%.
Absolutely. So I went down and testified in front of a the Indiana House of Representatives Veterans Committee. Bunch of veterans on the committee.
Right.
And they're all, but no, Mr. Rainwater, you don't understand. We need to promote this fund. We need to market this so more veterans are aware that this money exists. I'm like, taxpayers are already paying for the Department of Veterans Affairs to do their job. They should be doing their job. They shouldn't need another 10% of what's collected to do the job. They're already collecting taxes and being budgeted amount. It's just it's unconscionable.
Yeah.
The way these establishment, elite,
yes,
political lifers,
yes,
try to rationalize stealing from the citizens, because that's what it is.
Yeah,
and here again, I tell people all the time, I understand that whether I like it or not, the government's going to need a little money to do the things that it needs to do. Now, the debate is, what does the government really need to do?
Yeah.
And how much money do they really need to do that?
Yeah, where's the receipt?
All this other stuff, all this other stuff is, it's like when you give your kid $20 and say, here's your lunch money for this week at school.
Right.
And the kid comes home on Monday afternoon and says, Dad, I need $20 for lunch the rest of the week for school. I gave you $20 this morning. Where'd it go? Oh, well, we had a book fair and I decided I was going to buy a book that I thought was good for my educational enrichment. So I bought the book with the $20 you gave me for lunch. I gave you that $20 for lunch. Did I authorize you to make a decision about about changing, redirecting where that money was going?
Yeah.
Well, you gave me the money, so you must have thought that it was okay for me to spend it as I saw fit. Mm-hmm. And that's how government acts.
That's how we need to look at it too. Like we're the parent and they're the child.
That's right.
I love that analogy because I've been preaching this for a long time. I get a lot of blowback on that. I'm like, no, they work for us.
They do work for us. They're supposed to work for us.
Supposed to.
Imagine if you owned a business. Think about that.
I say it all the time.
You own a business, you hire somebody, and then they come in and tell you what you got to do.
Yes.
And what's worse is you knuckle under and do it.
Yep. And you're footing the bill. You're the one with the name on the pay check, signing the signature. That it doesn't make any sense to me at all how we continue to just view this way.
Oh, I know. Well, it's because they've cajoled us into this sense that we need them to take care of us.
Right.
We
Nanny state.
couldn't possibly. And the terrible thing is when you look at people and go, 150 years ago, it wasn't like this.
Right.
And they look at you and go, oh, but pardon me, but the world is so much more complicated now than it was then. No. The problem is we've got it too easy now, and we don't want to give that up.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid that we have to make our own choices. God forbid that we have to figure out how to pay for our own health care or decide for ourselves which doctor is best for us. That's one of the things the whole healthcare debate. I've been telling people for about the last year and a half, there's really two issues. There's healthcare. That's you and your doctor figuring out how best to make sure that you're as healthy as you can be.
Right.
And then there's healthcare coverage, which is the insurance that drives up the cost of healthcare, because the insurance creates all this extra paperwork that the providers have to do in order for you to get healthcare.
Right.
And here again, and we were talking about innovation before the show started.
That's right.
This is one of the areas where the libertarian philosophy of deregulation and getting government out of the freaking way is so important, because we talk about the escalating costs of healthcare. And the biggest contributor to that is government regulation and insurance companies having the authority, because of the government regulation, to tell a doctor what they can and can't do for you. And there's a serious problem there. And I would prefer to have to figure out how to pay out of pocket before I have an insurance company tell a doctor that they can't perform a procedure on my wife or my child because the insurance company has determined they don't want to have to pay for it. And there are instances, just to give you, one, my father had to have a heart valve replacement, but government insurance wouldn't allow the doctor to do the surgery until my father came to him and said, I passed out. So the doctor would ask my father every time he went to the doctor, the heart doctor,
right,
Don, because I'm the second, right? My dad's really Donald Rainwater.
Okay.
But the doctor would ask, Don, have you passed out? And my dad would go, no, I haven't passed out. And he didn't understand why the doctor was asking him. Finally, the doctor told him, says, look, I can't, you need this heart valve replacement, but I can't do it until the insurance company authorizes it, and the insurance company won't authorize it unless you say you passed out. Now, that's what's wrong with healthcare.
Absolutely.
And that is on the government and the insurance companies, and we need innovative ways for people to be able to get health care. I live in Westfield, Indiana. We have a medical practice here in Westfield. They don't take insurance. They quit taking it. If you want to file your insurance, you're more than welcome to and get reimbursed by your insurance company, but they won't file insurance anymore. You want to be seen by them, you pay $100 a month, and they take care of you. They've got everything. They've got x-ray machines. They've got labs for blood work right there on the premises. No insurance necessary.
Yeah.
That's innovation in healthcare.
Absolutely. I mean, that's awesome.
And that's what we need. We need innovation in healthcare. We need innovation in education. We need to get the government out of teaching our children, because they're not teaching our children. They're indoctrinating them.
Absolutely. Something I've been on here lately a bunch is school choice, right? But I know you know a lot more about this than I do, but it's a big deal for me, free market education. So can you tell us a little bit about how we can take those first few steps and like the benefits of that market education?
Well, in my opinion, and this is the hardest part, right? It's having for lack of a better word, having the faith in yourself and in your ability to make critical decisions on your own without the government doing it for you, and saying, yes, I know they're taking the money from us and putting it in the schools. Well, they're taking the money from me. I should be able to send my kid to the public school and get the education. But the thing is we're not controlling government. We're not keeping government in check. And so now what we've got is a government education system that is out of control. And people will go to school board meetings and pitch a fit about, whatever it is that they're upset about.
Right.
But they keep their kids in the school.
Yep.
Again, you want to fix this problem, you got to pull out. Right? And I'm sorry, if you have to work a second job to send your kid to a private school, or if somebody's got to quit working and you've got to cut back on some things in order to do homeschooling, then, and I know it's hard. I know it's not easy.
Right.
But at some point we have to say, if we're going to continue to be dependent upon the government is going to continue to hold it against us.
Yeah. We homeschool. Our whole family pretty much homeschools. So, and that's not that difficult for anybody asking. I mean, like it's a few $100 a year. You might pay $600 to $1,500 depending on where you're at. Homeschool, all of it's done online now. I mean, but they don't want us knowing that.
Right. And there are options. And the thing is here again, there should be even more options.
That's right.
Right? If government got the hell out of the way, we could have innovation in education, especially with the technology that we have today. And here again, there are families that need two incomes, and there are probably people sitting there right now going, yeah, Rainwater, that sounds great, but I can't stay at home with my child.
Right.
Okay. Then here again, this is where innovation comes in. Somebody needs to create an educational daycare where my child is going to go and have adult supervision and do online schooling. And that person, I'm not paying $12,000, $14,000, $15,000. I don't need a government certified licensed teacher.
Nope.
I just need somebody to make sure that my kid is safe and warm and doing what they're supposed to be doing and being where they're supposed to be. And here again, this involves innovation. There are people out there with ideas about how to make this work and make it feasible and affordable for people if government would get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. Free market solutions. I know they're out there. Absolutely. I know they're out there. That's where we need to drive for. That's what you're pushing for. I know that.
Absolutely.
What we're talking about, but we need more.
And here again, if you want to keep sending your kid to a government school, that's your choice.
Yeah.
And I fully support you making the choice that you think is right.
That's right.
But when you say that I've got to send my kid, or I have to take money out of my pocket so that your kid can continue to go to a government school, I disagree with that philosophy.
Yep. 100%.
I don't think that makes any sense. That would be like me saying that you have to pay Kroger down here, the grocery store, a certain amount of money so I can continue to buy groceries every week. Because you've got to keep the Kroger open and keep it stocked, whether you shop at Kroger or not.
Right.
And people don't think of it that way, right? They oh no, you got to keep the money going to the public schools. They're already crappy, awful, terrible schools. They need more money. No.
They need to allocate their funds better.
They keep getting more money and they don't improve.
Right.
And if we all pulled out, they'd have to do something to compete.
Yep. There it is. That's the word. They need to be forced to compete.
That's right.
When we're forced to compete, it ups our game. That's why the free market works.
I was reading an article in the paper this morning about a nonprofit organization that had a contract to oversee children in crisis. And they'd had this contract with the city of Indianapolis for a period of years, and they lost the contract, and now they're freaking out because all of their employees went to work for the new company that got the new contract. And now they don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to fund it. And I read this and I thought, this isn't a nonprofit organization. Pardon me. Right. This is a pseudo-government agency.
Right.
Right? And we don't think of it that way. These people have become completely and utterly dependent upon the government for their existence. And the only thing that should ever be 100% dependent upon the government is the government.
I love that.
So I apologize because I do tend to, I go off on tangents and talk about a lot of different things.
It's good.
But to me, it all comes back to that centralized idea that, we as citizens have to remember that we live in a country that was founded on the idea that we didn't want somebody else telling us what to do.
That's right.
And if you succeed, you succeed. If you fail, you fail. And the reality is that we as human beings learn more from one failure than we do from 10 successes.
Absolutely.
And that you never truly succeed until you failed enough to hate failure enough to put the effort and energy into succeeding.
That's it right there.
And we've forgotten about that because it's, when's that next stimulus check going to get here?
Yeah. We are a microwave society.
Yeah.
And the media and TV and Hollywood, and let's be honest, in my personal opinion, the government has helped to create an economy that requires a dual income, which basically forces your kids into the government indoctrination.
Oh, yes. Well, World War II, really created that dual income
necessity
scenario.
Yeah.
And we've never we keep doubling down on it.
That's right. Yeah.
And here again, when you convince people that the measurement of success is how many toys you have,
keep up with the Joneses.
Yes.
Yeah.
And success should be how free I am.
That's right.
Right?
Yes, indeed. I love that.
And that should be, hey, what's the meme? I'll be truly free when I'm standing in my backyard over my pot plants with my AR-15, and and we joke about that, but the reality is we live in a society today where if you want to be free, people look at you like you're wrong.
Yeah.
Oh no, you need to sacrifice everything for the good of everybody. Now I love Star Trek, okay?
You're
But
Trekkie?
when Leonard Nimoy uttered the words, "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one," I got a little bit sick. I threw up in my mouth a little bit,
I bet.
because the reality is that the needs of the many are to make sure that everyone is equally important. You know, and I said this earlier before we started too, we're all the same, we're all equal, but we're all unique.
That's right.
You know, we can't, we've got to stop trying to put people into groups.
Yep.
Because and I used to tell people during the campaign, I believe very strongly in identity politics. The identity of the individual.
Yeah. Right.
My identity, your identity.
Right.
Not, you know, am I a white male over the age of 50?
Yeah.
No, I'm just Donald Rainwater.
Yep.
That's who I am. And I'm unique. I'm not like anybody else. Ask anybody that knows me and they'll tell you I'm not like anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's the way we should all be.
Absolutely.
And the only group that we should belong to are human beings and Americans.
Yeah.
And it's when we try to start, you know, and people will say, well, but you don't understand what it's like to be this person. You're right, I don't. But they don't understand what it's like to be me either.
That's right.
And to tell me that my experience is somehow less important than somebody else's, I don't think that's what the human experience is supposed to be. I mean, the reality is we've all got it hard.
Yep.
Life is difficult for everybody. People say, oh, but people with money. Well, you know what? There's been a ton of people had a lot of money committed suicide because they were miserable.
Yep. Absolutely.
And this idea that money is privilege or you know something else gives you a privilege, an automatic leg up in the world. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Now, are there people who mistreat other people because they're just evil, nasty, awful people? Yeah. And personally, I don't want those people driven underground.
Right.
I want all the nasty, evil, mean-spirited, hateful people to yell it from the rooftops so I can point at them and tell my daughter, stay away from that asshole.
Exactly. I
right?
think you should be able
when
to
you
put it on
drive
blast.
that stuff underground, you don't know who the assholes are.
Yeah.
But here again, we live in a time where, we've got to push it. No. Look, there are evil people in the world, and we need to know who they are.
Yep.
So we can keep them at arm's length.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
But there's just, here again, there's so many things to do, and there's so much that what we're doing. I know we're probably running up on time, and I apologize.
Yeah, you're fine. It's great.
Because I know you wanted me to talk about liberty is essential, and we do want to talk about that a little bit, because what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that in 2022, we replace establishment, elite, political lifers, whether they be in the Indiana General Assembly or in county government, wherever they might be within the state of Indiana, we want to replace them with liberty-minded public servants.
Right.
And so we're raising money, and we're being active to recruit and support as many liberty-minded candidates in 2022 as we possibly can here in the state of Indiana. And again, I personally am committed to doing what I can locally, because until you fix the local problem, you can't fix the global problem.
Right.
And you're never going to, it's always funny when the people complain about the neighbors and their house is just a disaster.
Right.
Right? My neighbor's stereo's too loud. Yeah, but you haven't cut your grass in 3 weeks. What the hell?
Yeah.
Fix your own yard first, then worry about your neighbor. And that's what we need to do government-wise as well. We need to fix our towns, our cities, our counties, the state. And then when we get all that straightened out, we can focus on the federal government. Because this idea, good Lord, so anybody that wants to run for Congress or Senate, God bless you. But you're not going to fix what's broken by yourself.
Right.
So we've got to get enough people to make a real change in how government. And the way you do that is you got to change all 50 states. And if we have to do it one at a time, we'll start here in Indiana and work our way out.
Yeah.
But I think there are people all over. I think there are good, liberty-minded, libertarian, and independent people who understand the concepts of liberty and who want liberty and want smaller government within its confines, and want to make sure that government stops telling people what they can and can't do when there's no, we talk about no victim, no crime.
No victim, no crime.
Right?
Yeah.
And if I'm the only victim, it's not a crime.
Right.
It's a choice.
It's right.
Right? So, here in Indiana, I think it's a really glaring, we talk about cannabis decriminalization and legalization in Indiana. And the governor says, well, until the federal government says it's legal, we can't do it. Well, buddy, if you can't read the 9th and 10th Amendments any better than that, you shouldn't be governor of the state of Indiana.
Absolutely not.
Because that's not what the Bill of Rights tells me. Bill of Rights tells me the federal government doesn't have the right to have a list of controlled substances, period.
That's right.
Because that's got nothing to do with interstate trade. And if they want to say, well, the Commerce Clause. Well, dude, if I grow it in my backyard and I smoke it myself, there's no commerce involved. Stay out of my backyard.
Yep.
I mean, but we don't want to stand up. God forbid we stand up to the government and have to deal with the consequences of trying to stand up for what's right.
Yeah.
We might lose we might lose something.
Yeah.
Our founding fathers were willing to lose their land, their money, their lives, so that we could have freedom. But we don't want to upset government.
Right. Yeah. What's the old saying? Easier to get along. I feel like that's what we've been in for the last 100 years or more.
Yes.
It's just easier to get along.
And see, I was in the Navy for 8 years, and I'll tell you what, we learned the philosophy that better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yeah, I was in the Navy,
which is a very libertarian attitude.
Yeah. Never again volunteer yourself. For
That's
those of you
right.
wondering,
Absolutely.
I was a
That's
corpsman, but
okay. I was a yeoman. So yeah,
nice.
yes.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
paper pusher.
Never again volunteer yourself.
Never again volunteer yourself at all. For
Until, of
sure.
course, it's time to run for governor of the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never again volunteer yourself
That's
to
right.
the government.
That's right.
Well, unless you're
Absolutely.
running for governor
For
of
governor
Indiana.
of the state of Indiana. Yeah.
which you had some absolutely wild success in November. And so that begs the question, being the most successful libertarian gubernatorial candidate in history, besides liberty is essential, what's next for Donald Rainwater?
Well, right now I'm laser focused on 2022,
That's
and
right.
I'll tell you why. During my gubernatorial campaign, we were fortunate enough here in Indiana, there are 92 counties, and we received second place votes in 32 of the 92 counties. Now, that's significant because in the state of Indiana, the top two vote getters in the Secretary of State's race, which is in 2022, in each county gets to put a person on the county election board. So right now, there's a Republican and a Democrat on the county election board in each of the 92 counties. But if we're able to get second place votes in some of those counties, then we, the Libertarian Party, will be able to put someone on the county election board in those counties. That is huge.
Yeah.
So our ability to continue the momentum from my gubernatorial campaign and help to translate that into momentum for whoever our Secretary of State nominee becomes.
Right.
And me going out and helping that person campaign in those counties that we know that I got second place votes in, then allows us to hopefully get second place in some of those for Secretary of State and get some libertarians on election boards throughout the state of Indiana. And if we can be part of the election board process in these counties, it helps to further legitimize the Libertarian Party as having equal footing to the two old, corrupt, elite establishment political entities.
Yeah, we talked about this before we came on too. This is the example in what I personally live by, and I know that you do. It's being pragmatic. We're pragmatic libertarians. We're realists.
Absolutely.
And we want to take whatever punch I can throw to the throat of the government, I'm going to take it. And
Right.
we're not going to achieve everything we want overnight. So we have to be pragmatic.
Absolutely. Well, and I tell people all the time, if as long as I am more free tomorrow than I was yesterday, then today was a success.
Yes.
And so anything that I can do to move things in the right direction. God bless the folks that want it all today. I think that's human nature.
Right.
Freddie Mercury wrote a song, I want it all, I want it all, I want it all, I want it now. Right? Yeah. And as libertarians, of course, we want to fix it all right now. But the truth is it's taken them 240 years to erode our freedoms.
Yeah.
To the extent that they've done it. We can't take them all back overnight.
That's right.
So we've got to work. It's almost, and it almost hurts for me to say it, but sometimes you have to realize you've got to beat them at their own game.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
If you want to take back your individual freedoms, you've got to get, it's the meme, Libertarians want to take over the world and then leave you the hell alone.
That's it right there.
You know, but first we got to take over.
Yeah.
Right. You've got to be able to get control of that which is out of control.
Yeah.
In order to rein things in.
And I think that's absolutely perfect. That's an outstanding way to end what's been an absolutely incredible conversation.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
No, thank you for coming on. And if I can impose, I would love to have you on again and very soon, because, wow, you're very inspiring and you've accomplished a bunch. And you are a true coach and a leader. Somebody else in the comments section, I'm sorry, I'm not going to remember their name, but she referenced you as the splinter to her Ninja Turtle. And I love that. I think that's absolutely incredible. What you're doing is amazing.
We need to get her. We definitely need to get her a better mentor.
Yeah,
and you know what? That is one of the things that I want to encourage everybody who's watching. Right? We all have the ability to inspire somebody else.
That's right.
And that's what we need to do. It's great to be inspired, but it's more important to be open to the idea of inspiring others. And sometimes all that takes is getting up and going and doing something and say, hey, would you come with me? I'm going to go knock on doors for this candidate. Will you come with me? You don't have to say anything. Just be there with me.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, that person, runs for office because you got those juices flowing. Right. And that's what we need. Don't limit yourself just because somebody says, well, I've always voted Republican. Well, okay, why? Or I've always voted Democrat. Okay, why? Yeah. What is it about them? Because what they'll tell you is they'll give you the shtick, the party platform.
Yeah.
And you can say, yeah, but they don't do those things.
Exactly.
But if you an independent or a libertarian gets into office, they might actually do that for you.
Yeah. There's a reason we're different. There's a reason. I have to show this for you real quick, though, if you don't mind, Donald.
Absolutely.
This is from Nalick. Can I ask you about your campaign and how you put together a campaign team?
Oh, let me tell you what I did. Okay, and you're going to laugh. But I have a mentor. I always tell people, if you're familiar with Mark Rutherford, he was at one time very heavily involved in the national committee. But I always tell people I'm a Mark Rutherford libertarian. And when things became very real for us, I called Mark Rutherford and I said, I need help. We went from having 50 yard sign requests to over 800 in about a 36-hour period, because the governor of the state of Indiana said he was going to impose a mask mandate with a criminal penalty attached. And people said, oh, no. Is there anybody out there? And we were there, and we had the right message at the right time.
Yeah.
But it blew things up.
Yeah.
And I called Mark Rutherford. I'm going to need some help. And he called people that he knew that had been involved in the past in successful campaigns. And it all came together very organically. And one of the things, and I hope this doesn't discourage people, but one of the things that we were able to do, we had people who had been, who had worked on Republican campaigns and Democrat campaigns, who came and said, hey, we really believe in your message. We'd like to volunteer to work on your campaign. And we took those people in. We did not turn people away just because they said, you know, I've never voted for a libertarian before, or never worked on a libertarian campaign, but we really believe in what you're talking about. Hey, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Because that's how we build the party, and that's how we build the message, because we want to give people a message that says, you may not be 100% in agreement with me, but that's okay. We'll get you there.
Yes, indeed. That is awesome. So, I mean, really what that sounds like to me is you just built everything from the grassroots. And I just,
Yeah, very
that's
organically.
incredible.
And
Very
I'm a big
organic.
believer in that.
So am I. That's how this whole thing came about right here. And next thing you know, 2-3 months later, however long it's been, I've got Donald Rainwater on. And I think organic and genuine and individualism, like we talked about before the show, collectivism is absolutely cancerous. We need to look at everybody and respect everybody on an individual basis,
Absolutely.
one-on-one, and love people where they're at. That, I mean, that is an awesome. So I did not know that about your campaign team. So thank you for answering her. That is incredible. We're gonna need to. Yeah. So I got to ask you this before we go, and
Okay.
we're way over time, but whatever. I mean, this has been an
Sorry.
absolutely stellar. Don't be sorry. Don't be. This is awesome. This is what we need. It's what we're looking for. It's why we're here. But I have to ask you. I asked you beforehand, and you said you wouldn't. You hadn't seen the great seafood debate between the Eskimo Libertarian and I. And so, since I have the microphone and the camera with you here, I'll ask you in a very non-biased way, would you rather extraordinarily bland seafood and fish, or would you rather it cooked and seasoned with the right sauces and perfection?
I believe the proper I believe the lyrics are jambalaya, crawfish
Fish
pie, legumbo.
That's right. Yes, indeed. Thank you, my friend. You are awesome.
And I tell people all the time, if it ain't got spice, it ain't right.
If it ain't got spice, it ain't right. Absolutely. And you give us the great Cajun ritual song. I mean, that is a cult
There
classic.
you go.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Yes. Thank you so much for being with us. You are awesome.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I cannot wait to have you again, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Guys, get in the comments, go like his page, donate to the organization. I'm going to put that back up again. Liberty is essential.us/donate. All right. But that's not the only way that you can get involved. There's many ways that you can get involved. Hit the like button, hit the share button, tell it to your friends. If you're in Indiana, there's no way you don't share this video. Okay. If you're in Indiana, you're sharing this video for the next 10 to 12 months and more, trying to lead us right into that 2022 spot. It's not about the federal elections. We're trying to get people on the grassroots level. We're trying to get people in our communities that are doing what Donald Rainwater's done. The success that he has, we need to extrapolate everything that he was great at, which sounds like everything, and apply that into our communities as we see fit. This is extraordinarily important because we have groundbreaking territory here where you've got the most successful gubernatorial candidate in Libertarian Party history. We need to take that model and run with it. This is a copycat league. We know that we have the momentum. We know we have the swing. We know we have the talent. We know we have the tools. My God, we know we have the intelligence. So this is what we need right here. I know I'm getting fired up again, and I'm going to forget something. I don't know. If I don't say this, Kenneth is going to jump on me. So PayPal at the Cajun Libertarian 1. Again, if you can't donate with money, $5 a month would be great. $10 a month is even better. Hit the share button, subscribe to the YouTube page. Just tell people to come watch the video. There's plenty of ways that you can help, even if it isn't financial, although financial help is extraordinary. And so, with that being said, what an awesome night. Thank you. Thank you, Donald Rainwater. Amazing interview, amazing night tonight. Bunch of y'all here. I cannot wait to see y'all again. I love y'all very much, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Later.